The little girl held out a crumpled dollar bill with hands that hadn't been washed in days. "Mister, my mama says $1 can save a life," she said, her voice small but steady. "Can you save hers?" Jin-Woo Park stared at the child standing in front of his private table at the back of his restaurant. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Her clothes were too thin for the Seoul winter, her shoes held together with duct tape, and her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. But it was her eyes that stopped him cold. They held the kind of desperation he recognized because he'd seen it in the mirror 20 years ago. "How did you get past my security?" Jin-Woo asked, his voice dangerously quiet. "I told them I had money for you," the girl said simply, still holding out that single dollar. "My mama needs medicine. The hospital says it costs $5,000. I have one. Can you help me get the rest?" Jin-Woo's lieutenant, Min-jae, moved forward to escort the child out, but Jin-Woo raised his hand. Something about this moment felt important. Felt destined. "What's your name?" Jin-Woo asked. "Maya," she said. "Maya Johnson. My mama is Dr. Grace Johnson. She's sick because she helped people who couldn't pay her. Now she needs help and nobody will help us." Jin-Woo took the dollar bill from her small hand. It was warm from being clutched so tightly. Written on it in crayon were the words, "For Mama's medicine. Please." "Sit down, Maya Johnson," Jin-Woo said, gesturing to the chair across from him. "Tell me about your mother." Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Now, let's get started. Jin-Woo Park wasn't born into the Mafia. He was born into poverty in the slums of Seoul, raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs to keep him fed. When he was 7, she got cancer. When he was 8, she died because they couldn't afford treatment. Jin-Woo learned early that in this world, money meant life and poverty meant death. So he did what he had to do. He joined the Jade Dragon at the age of 15. By 25, he ran half of Seoul's underground. By 32, he was the most feared man in South Korea. People called him the Ice King because nothing moved him. Not pleas for mercy. Not tears. Not death. But then a 6-year-old girl with $1 walked into his restaurant and cracked something open inside him that he'd thought was dead. Maya sat across from him, her legs swinging on the chair, and told him about her mother. Dr. Grace Johnson was an American doctor who'd moved to Seoul 5 years ago to work in the free clinics in the poorest neighborhoods. She treated anyone who walked through her door, regardless of their ability to pay. "Mama says every life matters," Maya explained, her small face serious. "Even when people are mean to us, Mama says we still help them. Because that's what doctors do." Jin-Woo felt something twist in his chest. "Where's your father?" "Don't have one," Maya said. "Mama says he left when I was born because he didn't want a baby. But it's okay because Mama is enough. She's everything." "And now your mother is sick?" Maya nodded, her eyes filling with tears she was trying hard to hold back. "She collapsed at the clinic 2 weeks ago. The doctors say she has something wrong with her heart. They can fix it, but the surgery costs $5,000. We don't have insurance because Mama spent all our money helping other people. Now nobody will help us." "I've been trying to earn money," Maya continued. "I collected cans. I helped people carry groceries. I saved $17. But then I heard people talking about you. They said you're the richest, most powerful man in Seoul. They said you can do anything. So I took my best dollar and I came to find you." Min-jae leaned down to whisper in Jin-Woo's ear. "Boss, we should send her away. This isn't our problem." But Jin-Woo was staring at this little girl who'd walked into a mafia den with $1 and more courage than men twice her size. He saw himself in her. The desperation. The determination. The willingness to do anything to save the person you love. "Take me to your mother," Jin-Woo said, standing up. Maya's face lit up like the sun breaking through clouds. "Really? You'll help?" "I'm going to meet her first," Jin-Woo said. "Then I'll decide." The hospital was in the charity ward, the part where people went when they had nowhere else to go. Maya held his hand, pulling him forward with surprising strength for such a small person. Dr. Grace Johnson was asleep when they entered, her dark skin ashen against the white hospital sheets. She was beautiful even in illness, with kind features and hands that looked like they'd worked hard their entire life. "Mama," Maya whispered, climbing onto the bed carefully. "Mama, I brought help." Grace's eyes fluttered open. When she saw Jin-Woo standing in her room, dressed in all black with Min-jae behind him, her body went rigid with fear. "Maya, get away from him," Grace said, her voice weak but urgent. "I know who he is. Everyone in the slums knows Jin-Woo Park. Get out of my room." "Your daughter gave me $1, Jin-Woo said, holding up the bill. "She asked me to save your life." Grace's eyes filled with tears. "Maya, baby, what did you do?" "I asked him to help," Maya said, her small voice breaking. "You always help people, Mama. I thought someone should help you." "I don't want help from a man who makes his money off suffering," Grace said, but her voice was losing strength. "I've treated too many people hurt by your organization. You think I'd take your blood money?" "Yes," Jin-Woo said simply. "Because if you don't, you'll die. And your daughter will end up exactly like I was. Alone. Angry. Willing to do anything to survive. Is your pride worth that?" Grace stared at him, and Jin-Woo saw the moment she broke. The moment she realized he was right. "What do you want in return?" she asked quietly. "You're a doctor who treats people nobody else will treat," Jin-Woo said. "My organization has people who need medical care and can't go to hospitals. You treat them. That's how you pay me back." Grace looked at Maya, who was watching them both with wide, hopeful eyes. "Fine," she said. "But I have conditions. I don't participate in violence. I don't help you hurt people. I only provide medical care. And Maya stays far away from your world. She never meets your people. She never sees violence. She gets to be a normal child." "Agreed," Jin-Woo said immediately. 2 days later, Grace had her surgery. Jin-Woo paid for everything. The best surgeons. The best room. The best care. He also paid off her apartment rent for a year, enrolled Maya in the best private school in Seoul, and set up a trust fund for her education. "Why are you doing all this?" Grace asked when she was recovering. Jin-Woo looked at Maya, who was coloring in the corner of the hospital room. "Because 25 years ago, I was that little girl," Jin-Woo said quietly. "Desperate. Willing to give everything to save my mother. But nobody helped me. Nobody showed up. And she died. I became what I am because I learned that mercy doesn't exist in this world. But then your daughter proved me wrong. She showed mercy to me. She saw a monster and decided to believe he could be something better. I want to prove her right." Grace studied him for a long moment. "You're not what I expected." "Neither are you," Jin-Woo admitted. "You're much more stubborn." Grace laughed, and Jin-Woo felt something warm bloom in his chest. Something that felt dangerously like hope. Over the next 6 months, Grace kept her promise. She treated Jin-Woo's people. Gunshot wounds. Stab wounds. Overdoses. She never asked questions. Never judged. Just healed. And slowly, Jin-Woo's organization started to change. He found himself asking Grace's opinion on things. Her perspective. Her moral compass became his guide. "You're going soft, boss," Min-jae said one day. "The other families are noticing." "Let them notice," Jin-Woo replied. Jin-Woo was changing. He started refusing jobs that would hurt innocent people. Started questioning the violence he'd always accepted as necessary. Started wondering if there was a way to have power without cruelty. And then everything exploded. A rival gang kidnapped Maya. Jin-Woo got the call while he was in a meeting. The voice on the other end was cold and amused. "We have the little girl," the man said. "The doctor's daughter. If you want her back, you bring us $5 million and you step down from the Jade Dragon. You have 24 hours. Jin-Woo's blood turned to ice. "If you hurt her, you've gone soft, Park. Everyone knows it. You're weak now. This is what weakness gets you." The line went dead. Jin-Woo stood up, his face a mask of fury. "Find them," he told Min-jae. "Burn down every building in Seoul if you have to. Find that child." It took 18 hours, but they found where Maya was being held. An abandoned warehouse by the river. Jin-Woo went in alone, against everyone's advice. "You were right about one thing," Jin-Woo said to the gang leader who'd taken Maya. I did go soft. I started believing in mercy. In kindness. In redemption. But you made one critical mistake. You threatened the only pure thing in my life. And for that, I'm going to show you exactly how much of a monster I still have left. What happened next became a legend in Seoul's underground. Jin-Woo dismantled that entire gang in one night. No mercy. No hesitation. Just cold, calculated vengeance. When the sun came up, Maya was safe and the men who'd taken her were gone. Jin carried Maya out of that warehouse himself, her small arms wrapped around his neck. I knew you'd come, she whispered. I told them you would. I told them you're a hero. I'm not a hero, Maya, Jin-Woo said quietly. Yes, you are, she insisted. Heroes are just people who save the people they love. When Grace saw her daughter safe, she collapsed into Jin-Woo's arms, sobbing with relief. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I told you I'd protect her, Jin-Woo said. I keep my promises. That night, after Maya was asleep, Grace found Jin-Woo standing on her apartment balcony, staring at the city lights. You scared me today, Grace said softly. I know. The man who did those things tonight, that's who you really are, Grace said. Not the gentleman who plays tea party with my daughter. Not the man who pays for her school. That violent, ruthless man. That's the real you. Jin-Woo turned to look at her. Yes. I should be terrified of you, Grace continued. I should take Maya and run far away. You should, Jin-Woo agreed. But I'm not going to, Grace said. Because I finally understand something. You're not a good man trying to be bad. You're a bad man trying to be good. And that takes more courage than anything else. I'm falling in love with you. God help me, I'm falling in love with a mafia boss. Jin-Woo crossed the distance between them and cupped her face in his hands. I don't deserve you. No, you don't, Grace agreed. But Maya gave you $1 and asked you to save my life. You did more than that. You gave us both a new life. Maybe that's worth something. Maybe, Jin-Woo whispered, and then he kissed her. 1 year later, Jin-Woo Park did something nobody expected. He stepped down from the Jade Dragon. He handed over his empire to Min-jae with one instruction: reduce the violence, protect the innocent, and remember that power without mercy is just tyranny. Then he married Dr. Grace Johnson in a small ceremony with just Maya as their witness. You gave up everything for us, Grace said on their wedding night. Your power. Your empire. Everything. No, Jin-Woo corrected, pulling both his wife and daughter into his arms. I traded everything I had for everything I needed. There's a difference. Maya looked up at him with those same wise eyes that had seen past his monster to his humanity. I told you $1 could save a life, she said seriously. I was right. Yes, you were, Jin-Woo agreed. You saved mine. And in the end, that was the truth. A little girl with $1 and more faith than sense had walked into a mafia boss's restaurant and asked him to save her mother. Instead, she'd saved him. From himself. From his past. From a future built on violence and void of love. Jin-Woo Park learned that redemption doesn't come from power or money or fear. It comes from a 6-year-old girl who believes you can be better. From a woman who loves you despite everything you've done. From choosing, every single day, to be worthy of the faith they have in you. $1. One little girl. One impossible choice. That's all it took to change everything.